Thank you very much, Bryn, and happy belated birthday as well. It was Bryn's birthday a few days ago. I won't tell you how old he was, it's a bit of a touchy subject, but happy birthday, Bryn. And what better way to spend your birthday weekend than here at Brands Hatch, enjoying some sensational racing, as we just did in that first race of the day. And now we've got more racing coming up, and this is for the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship, as Bryn said, with MRF tyres, and the cars are making their way around now on their green flag lap, with Joel Wren on pole position. And Joel Wren, fifth in the championship, is starting now to find a bit of form mid-season. It was an interesting qualifying session yesterday. It was, I think, a wet session, so it was a wet session. In fact, lap times definitely confirming that. 1 minute 2.5 was the pole position time. That was half a second quicker than Ollie Turner, who is the championship leader by some way, and Ollie Turner will therefore line up alongside him. Ted Potts will be third, with Alfie Glennie fourth on the grid. Those two were sharing the second row of the grid, with Joseph Loke at the back, although we appear to be missing, I'm afraid, Alfie Glennie from row number 2. Alfie third in the championship then is not there, unfortunately. Getting ready to go racing though for a 15-minute race, and this will be their second race their first race of the weekend, excuse me. They qualified yesterday, they did not race yesterday. Although I think ready to go race now. I think Alfie Glennie, I'm hearing, has actually stopped on the green flag lap, and I'm not entirely sure. I'm peering out of my window to see if I could spot Alfie Glennie's car. Yeah, we might need another green flag lap now for this then, because the cars have been sat on the grid for a while, and away they go, yes, onto another green flag lap. So we will have another chance then to have a look at the grid. Oh, that was a bit unnecessary. We're not actually racing at the moment, boys. So there is the grid then. Joel Wren with Ollie Turner on the front row of the grid. Ted Potts will now have row 2 to himself, with Alfie Glennie absent. And I'm still not entirely sure where Alfie got to. I can't see him in the pit lane either. Then at the back, Joseph Loke. So Loke gains a position then as a result of the green, loss of Alfie Glennie from the grid, unfortunately. Now, I'm pretty sure that Ollie Turner and Joel Wren think they're racing. We are not racing. This is a green flag lap. They are absolutely flying around on what they think is the green flag lap, and they've actually changed positions. Ollie Turner is ahead. Now, they're in for a bit of a shock, I think, when they get back to the grid, because there are yellow flags and marshals about to wave them down. I think they have possibly finally got... No, they have not got the message. They've gone flying past at the end of what was actually a second green flag lap, but clearly they did not get the message that that was another green flag lap, and now they slow down. But Ollie Turner and Joel Wren, I fear, may get themselves in a little bit of trouble for that, because the message is sent out to the drivers and the teams that that is the plan. And there are the marshals sort of looking at each other thinking, well, we tried everything. They weren't going to jump out in front of the cars. They were stood at the side of the track waving them down, and they slowed down when they saw them, but they'd already gone past, and now everybody's going past, and the one man who gets the message is Joseph Loke, who lines up at the back of the grid. But that was a slightly chaotic start to the race, and of course it all now starts to delay things, rather. They've now had to red flag the session to get these drivers back to the grid at a slow pace. So yes, there may be some words exchanged about this, but there you go. So Ollie Turner then leads the championship on 386 points, which is actually 110 points more than anybody else has scored. However, on dropped scores, because they dropped their worst 2 finishes of the season, Turner drops 84 points, so he goes down onto 302, whereas Ted Potts is only dropping about 34, so he goes on to 242, so it's still a 60-point advantage for Ollie Turner, but Ted Potts, who lines up third on the grid for this one, really will be trying to take some points out of him if he can. Alfie Glennie is only 2 points behind Potts though, so Alfie really did not need this non-start today. He needed the exact opposite of that. He needed to try and score as many points as he could. With Joseph Loke fourth and Joel Wren fifth, we've had a few of the drivers who have done the odd race but not competed in a full season. Abby Locke, Nathan Hodgkiss and Magnus Crickley have all been out for selected rounds this year. But these are the season regulars, and the Fiesta Junior Championship had a taster session yesterday, actually, where a few youngsters who are interested in competing in the championship came along and had a go in the cars in a controlled testing environment. I believe they're doing another one of those at Donington Park actually later this season as well. So when the Fiestas will be back on the TCR UK racing bill, and so we're going to have another green flag lap we're now hearing, because of course that was technically, the race was red flags before it had actually started, which is something I don't think I've ever seen before. So the protocol now is that we have another green flag lap, and hopefully the message this time has got through to the drivers. We'll find out now, because the revs are starting to rise, and yes, a slightly more steady start this time from Ollie Turner, the championship leader. So yes, if you're interested in coming and racing Ford Fiestas, it's probably the most affordable junior racing category in the country, and you can, the cars are 2-litre cars. They're very nippy, they don't weigh very much either, so they're proper racing cars. And the good thing about these cars as well is that you can take the exact same car and race it in the Fiesta Senior Championship. They have to restrict the top speeds of any junior formula to 100 miles an hour, so they take the restrictor off and then they let you loose in the senior category, which we'll see racing a bit later on, which is a multi-class Ford Fiesta Championship, and that's the championship that people like Gordon Shedden and Colin Turkington and some of the touring car stars of the country have come from in the past. Indeed, the Fiesta Junior Championship has produced some pretty decent driving talent over the years as well. People like Jerry Nicosia, for example, Nathan Edwards, Jess King, Aaron Thompson, all of whom have gone on to race in Clios and Janettas. Connor Grady, another one as well, who has raced in the championship. Indeed, Aaron Thompson was the 2015 champion. Harry Gooding won the championship the year after that, and he's gone on to achieve quite a lot in some of the other junior Formulae 2. Lewis Kent, former racer of the Fiesta Junior Championship as well. He now races in TCR UK, and of course his younger brother Bradley also came along and raced in the championship for a season or two. So the Fiesta Junior Championship is a good proving ground for touring car and tin top racing stars, but yeah, we hope to see the growth of the championship continue and the support for the championship continue, because it is used to be a very popular championship, and these days not the biggest grid, as you can see, but the racing usually is fairly entertaining, as we're now finally about to find out on a slightly shortened 12-minute race now for the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship, which bursts into life now. Good start made by Joel Wren from pole position. Not such a good start from Ollie Turner though, so Ted Potts is up the inside of him in the black number 55 machine and going for second, and goes through in fact into second position. So Ted Potts up on the spot, and that's what he needed to do if he's going to take some points out of the points leader Ollie Turner. He had to try and get ahead of him, and he has right at the first corner into Druids. Then the hazard lights flashing for some reason on Joel Wren's car from pole, but he is leading the way. Then the black car in second place is Potts. Turner tried to go around the outside at Druids. That gives him the inside nearly for Graham Hill Bend, and they turn left. There's almost a nudge. In fact, there was a bit of a tap of Morse code, I think, onto the tail of the number 55 car, but there's no way through for Ollie Turner. He stays in third then, down the Cooper Straight, through the left-hander at Surtees. Cold rear tyres, of course, despite the numerous green flag laps they've done. The rear tyres won't really get up to full temperature just yet, and that was a nice move, though, despite those cold tyres for Ollie Turner. And he gets into second spot now, so Ollie Turner goes through. He's a bit slow on the exit, though, and so Potts tries to fight back. Can't do it on the exit of the corner, though. Back across the start-finish line, then end of lap number 1, and the lead gap already 1.6 seconds for Joel Wren, because they're all really falling over each other for second place. There is Joel through the first corner. And the rest of them filing in behind. Turner, Potts and Loke with, as we said, no sign of Alfie Glennie. I'm not sure where he got to. So we now need to watch the lap times for Ollie Turner. Now that he's back ahead of Ted Potts, is he going to be able to catch the race leader? It's not what Ted is hoping for, but Ollie Turner probably should have the pace to do so. Qualifying, as I said, he was just under half a second slower than Joel Wren, but that was in the wet, so we would expect the lap times to be a little quicker, although not massively quicker actually in racing conditions. It was only a damp session, I think it wasn't fully wet yesterday, so we'll see what the lap times are, but this will be the completion of the first flying lap of the race, of course. This will be our first chance to take a real look at what the lap times are, and Joel Wren does a 59.1, So yeah, that is now a full dry time, but the fastest lap goes to Turner with a 58.9, so he's 2/10 quicker. And then these two lapping almost identically last time around, Potts and Loke on those to tail for third position. And that lead gap most definitely is shrinking now. Down the hill, out of Druids towards Graham Hill Bend, and there the third place battle is. The black car of Ted Potts, the red and white of Joseph Loke. Joseph came into the weekend on 211 points, so he was less than 30 behind Alfie Glennie. So he may actually be able to do something about moving into third place in the championship if he can get past Ted Potts. But Ted Potts is second in points and only 2 points further up the road from Glennie, so this is a significant battle really. If Loke can get past Potts, he'll be taking some serious points out of the second place man in the championship. Paddock avoiding the curb there through the right-hander, because that can unsettle the car, but it can also buy you a little bit of time through the corner. Lead gap, by the way, came down again on that lap, but by another 2.5 tenths or so, so it's 1.1 seconds now between Wren and Turner, with Potts and Loke continuing to lap almost identically, so they're pairing off here. 2 for the lead, 2 for third place. He's very well prepared. Ford Fiestas wind their way now through Surtees and back to the far end of the circuit. Fiesta Junior Championship, which has been around for a number of years now and always has produced very close racing. It's a shame we haven't got a slightly bigger grid this weekend, but it is Ollie Turner who leads, who is second and has now just set a new fastest lap of 58.4, means he's now less than a second behind the race leader. Joseph Loke here though, the man from Macclesfield, trying everything to get past the Heathfield driver, Ted Potts. To no avail. Oh, he goes on the inside into Druids. That was a nice move on the inside into the tight right-hander, and so through he goes with now the black car down to fourth place of Ted Potts. That's not ideal for Ted. You see in the background there they are. Through has gone Loke, and so Joseph Loke now then into third. Can he set off after the leading two? Well, they're 3.4 seconds behind already, but with still just over half the race to go, there's time maybe here for him to do some damage to the lead gap. Again, we'll watch his lap time with interest, but the man that he's chasing is the fastest man on the track, and there is Ollie Turner, the blue and yellow car in second place behind the slightly darker blue and yellow of the race leader Joel Wren. It's not a fastest lap this time for Turner, but he is still 4 tenths quicker, and is now bumper to bumper between the top two. And a good exit from Paddock Hill Bend there from Turner means he's on the tail of Wren, goes to the outside. Wren just eases him over to the outside line even further. They're wheel to wheel through Druid's corner. Wren will try and force him onto the grass on the exit, which he has. Oh, Turner's onto the grass, bounces back on the road, keeps his foot in it though, and gets to the inside at Graham Hill Bend and goes through. Nice move from Ollie Turner. Was not going to take no for an answer there, and so Joel Wren, who's now flicked an indicator on instead of a hazard light, or maybe one of the hazard lights has just burnt out, but it is now a change for the lead. Almost a bit of contact as they go through Clearways and Clark Curve. Now, can Wren stay with him? These cars are not the most aerodynamic of cars, so they will punch a fairly big hole in the air. And he's in the tow now, going down to Paddock Hill Bend. Can he attack? Under braking, you have to feel that he's going to have a go at this, but Paddock Hill Bend's a difficult place to overtake. Turner later on the brakes, but still hooks up the apex, so Wren will have learnt from that maybe he can brake a bit later next time around. Two across the line, less than 2 tenths of a second apart then. Through Druid's corner. Back down the hill, and behind, Loke and Potts are still nose to tail as well, so this is a really entertaining race, or pair of races here between the top two and then third and fourth. There are the leaders, and there, third and fourth, and a very wide line taken by the third place man, Joseph Loke. Bounces back onto the road though, didn't seem to lose a huge amount of time to the fourth place man there. As up to the end of the lap go the top two cars, and Turner now maybe starting to get away, is he? Let's see, he's was 1.184 ahead. Yeah, he's now nearly half a second up the road, but that's not, he's not broken the slipstream yet, he's not broken the tow, so Wren will still have a bit of a draft, but Joel Rem, who's having a really good weekend here. This has been one of his best seasons of the races of the season, excuse me. And the man who's only 5th in the championship is showing some really good pace here at Brands Hatch. So with another race to come later on today, he might be able to get that race victory. But right now, Ollie Turner is starting just to break away a little bit. Just caught a glimpse of Joseph Loke locking up and running a bit wide of Druids as well, but as you can see, he's still ahead of Ted Potts, so no change to the order really. Clearways again. To the pit straight they go. Yeah, this gap definitely going up now, so it looks good for Ollie Turner. Joseph Loke, by the way, being warned for exceeding track limits. Oh, hang on, what's going on for Turner? Turner's slowed down as they come across the start-finish line. Surely that's not a mechanical issue that's robbed him of the victory. I think it might be, the Jam Sport car all of a sudden lost speed across the line, and it's not back up to speed going up the hill either. He's going to lose second place. Surely this is a retirement now for Ollie Turner, and this does rather turn the championship onto its head. He's flicked the hazards on, and Ollie Turner looks to be out of the race. Now let's hope that whatever the issue is, they're able to get the car fixed for race 2, because we don't want to lose Ollie from the grid, and Ollie can't really afford to lose any more championship points, and he's pulling off the road, coming down to Graham Hill Bend, and he's fairly rapidly pulling off the road as well, finding Marshall's post, and so that is a bizarre end to Ollie Turner's race, and it hands Joel Wren the race lead just when it looked as though Wren was starting to fall away, and he is now back into first position again. So Joel Wren then with the race lead, and well, if Turner doesn't score in this race, which clearly he's not going to, where does Ted Potts end up? That's the next question. Ted Potts really needs to try and get past Joseph Loke now to try and reclaim some valuable championship points on the championship leader now. This is, well, a dramatic first race of the weekend for the Fiesta Juniors. Not necessarily in the way that we were expecting, but still there has been plenty going on. And points-wise, this could really tighten things up at the top of the points table. So here is that fight for second place. So the black car is Ted Potts, then second place in the championship. He scored 50 points for a race victory, plus 2 for the fastest lap. So if Potts finishes third, he's going to get about 44 points-ish, I reckon, and he was 60 points behind. So that's the sort of damage he could do here to Ollie Turner's points margin. Turner, remember, was already dropping quite a few points. This probably will become a drop score for him. I don't think he's had 2 retirements. I think he's had maybe 1 retirement this year. But it's crucial here for Ted Potts to try and get past Joseph Loke. He's only got another lap and a half to go, because we are into the final 2 minutes of this race. And the... Oh, look at that over the curves for Ted Potts. That was incredible over the inside curve at Graham Hill Bend. I thought for a moment that car was going over. That was some real stunt driving then from the third place man. It wasn't really the quickest way through the corner, but he's applying the pressure here to Joseph Loke, most definitely. Love to see a replay of that. That was brilliant stuff from Potts, sorry. If ever you doubt how much these drivers are trying, then that was a great example of it. But of course they're all relatively new to racing, and so they're all still finding the limits, and the only way you really find the limit is by exceeding them. And that was fantastic. I bet he stays away from that curve this time through Graham Hill. Well, he's nearly on the curve through Druids though, because he's almost finding a gap up the inside of Joseph Loke, who does like that wide entry into Druids, but it leaves a very tasty gap on the inside. Let's see, yeah, doesn't quite hook up the apex that time, does the second place man. He uses all of the curb on the exit though, third place man, sorry, Ted Potts. And that might have just kept him away from taking second place, but Joel Wren is going to come through now to take a race victory, and that is a fantastic result for Joel. A slightly surprising result maybe, but it is going to be the race win, or are they going to maybe get 1 more lap out of it? No, the checkered flag is being prepared, and with maybe a couple of seconds left on the clock, it will be a victory for Joel Wren, and a fantastic win that was, and a valuable one as well. Then it's Loke second, Potts third, so he will still take some big points out of his championship rival Ollie Turner, who failed to finish the race. Unfortunately, we never saw Alfie Glennie, who was a non-starter, and that led to the slightly delayed start. So Joel Wren then, in dramatic fashion, takes the race victory. Joseph Loke second, Ted Potts third, and they were your podium finishers. Ollie Turner and Alfie Glennie fourth and fifth. That was an interesting way to start proceedings for the Fiesta Juniors. As I said, they've got another race coming up a bit later on at around about 4:05 here at Brands Hatch. Before that, though, at about 3:05, we will have our second of three Ford Fiesta senior races. They have 3 races over a weekend. Their first one yesterday was dramatic. Started with a multi-car pile-up at Paddock Hill Bend, but there's some good racing after that point. I look forward to the even more Fiesta action as the day goes on. So the drivers will make their way back around to Parc Ferme, where hopefully Bryn will be able to catch up with our top 3 finishers. And then we will move on to our next race, which will be for the Toyo Tyres Porsche Championship. We've got quite a bit more racing to come. We've got Porsches up next. Then we've got the next round of the always entertaining Avon Tyres National Formula Ford 1600 Championship. That's going to be about 11:55. And then we'll have a brief break before we go to some Disc Lock Civic Cup racing action, which is a packed grid of cars that usually provides some of the most entertaining racing of these weekends. So looking forward to that, and then we will be into TCR racing at about 1:35. 1:35 is when the pit lane window opens, excuse me, for the TCR UK Championship of the Dunlop Tyres Touring Car Trophy. Before the race starts at 1:55. So if you want to join us for TCR action, that's when that begins. But I urge you to stay with us throughout the day, because you will get to see some fantastic racing, I guarantee, and some big grids as well as the day goes on. The Fiesta Junior grid, not the biggest one we've got here this weekend, but there will be some packed entries coming up, I promise you, from some of our races later on. And as we saw from our first 2 races, lots of action to be enjoyed, and a great advert really for club level motorsport in the UK. You can get yourself a ticket to come down to somewhere like Brands Hatch for about £15, and that will get you a full day of entertainment. And the British club racing scene, one of the most vibrant club racing scenes in the world, if not the most vibrant really. It's certainly very active, and Brands Hatch itself hosting well in excess of 40 race meetings a year, and not all of them are headliners. Some of them are these club level weekends, which produce some of the best racing you'll see though, and with really low ticket prices, well worth getting yourself trackside to your local circuit, and you can come and enjoy some of the racing that clubs like the BRSCC have to offer. There are a number of people here this morning. Actually, despite the overcast conditions, it is still fairly warm, and Brands Hatch does generally generate a pretty popular following. So the Ford Fiesta drivers then in Parc Ferme. The reason it takes a bit longer sometimes for them to get down to the podium is because the drivers get into a truck and then get transported down to the other end of the pit lane to where the podium is. But before they go there, Bryn Lucas is with them in Parc Ferme to have a chat.
Well, not many cars on the grid. A bit of confusion at the start there, but well done, a podium for you, Ted. The 3 cars finished, but was that an odd beginning for you?
Well, yeah, I came up on the, and I thought there were going to be 2 green flag laps because we had wet practice and qualifying. And then when the second one waved, I did the usual thing, set off, so I heat my tyres up. And I saw Ollie and Joel go off, and I was like, but then I saw the green flags wave, and I'll just keep the tyres warm and try and get a good start.
It was it's a tricky race when there's only so few cars out there, and with Ollie Turner there falling off around lap 8, you then all got bumped up in position as well, which must be quite nice.
Yeah, I was just chasing Joe all through, but he's a tough nut to crack, I suppose. Just couldn't have the pace. But it's good points. I know there are only 3 cars, but at the end of the day, you can only race what's in front of you, can't you?
Absolutely. Well done. Go and get your trophy there.